From Ticker News, right now, the global view. This is Ticker News Insight.
Hello and welcome back to Ticker News Insight, where we are looking to focus on the best of business and the clever minds from all around the world. I'm your host, Mike Loder, and to my latest story for the moment, and Ron Malthora is releasing his 7th book called Indoctrinated, which is an opportunity to have an important conversation about how people have been cloned rather than empowered, a curious topic in today's day and age. Ron, thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
It's a pleasure to be here, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the book. Who's it for, I suppose?
Well, Indoctrinated, the subtitle of the book is How the Conventional Education System Perpetuates Mediocrity, Conformity, and Indistinguishability. And basically the point that I'm trying to make is that there seems to be a correlation between the number of years that we spend in institutions, that's schools, universities, and corporations, and your inability to be able to think critically. Now, if you actually currently look at the most educated members of our society, typically we deem those people who have formal education, professional education, as the most educated people in society. But the question is, have they simply been instilled with a set of beliefs and protocols, or are these educated individuals actually have the capability to be able to apply independent and critical thinking? And so there are many different forms of indoctrination. There's cultural indoctrination, there's religious indoctrination, there's media indoctrination. I'm particularly fascinated by institutional indoctrination. And so the point that I'm basically trying to make is that just because we've spent several years in the institutions doesn't necessarily mean that we're capable of applying critical thinking.
Okay, so those are some heavy themes in there. So what's the book about, I suppose, if you could give us a bit of a synopsis about the through line there?
Well, the book actually makes a point for the fact that just because you have spent a number of years in institutions, it doesn't mean that you have the ability to critically evaluate information. And so a lot of the times what happens is in the education system, we are rewarded for conformity and compliance, not individual expression, not independent thinking, or creativity. And so as a consequence, you'll see that if an individual has excelled in academic institutions, their ability to be able to start up new things, disrupt, innovate is actually quite limited. And the question is, why is that? And one of the reasons is that in the school, in the education system, we are rewarded for following a set of protocols, not necessarily to come up with new ideas. And so that was really the point that I was trying to make. And I guess the solution for this that we are recommending is that we're not saying that schools and universities have no place. They absolutely do. But what we're saying is that we need to look at other forms of education so that individuals are developing holistically. There's no point, what's the point of having an individual who is excelling in their career, but when it comes to money management, when it comes to emotional regulation, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to all these different types of things like relationship building or making an impact, they fail miserably. And so the whole idea is that, look, we need to really review our education system and see if there are other elements that need to be added to it.
Absolutely. So why do you think this problem exists? It's so fascinating to hear you break it down, but where do you think it came from? And sort of, was it slow and steady sort of taking hold?
Well, I think it's just, we have to understand a bit of basic psychology here. So if you continue to repeat a message over and over again, and you have that message cause some sort of feeling in the receiver, and you have that message endorsed by people of authority, the chances are that message will get accepted without any cross-examination.
Yeah.
And so it's a form of brainwashing in effect, right? Why is it that so many people who have excelled in schools, universities, and corporations, why is it that when it comes to other areas of life that are equally important, why is it they struggle in those areas? And so the question we've asked is, why is it that so many individuals are lost and confused, even though they're excelling in their careers, in so many other areas that are important: health, peace of mind, meaningful relationships, inspiration, financial abundance? Why is it that those people fail in those areas?
Absolutely. Ron, what do you think the solution is for all of this, and I guess what you hope your book to sort of present to the readers out there?
Well, it was obviously important for us not to just talk about the problem. We had to recommend a solution as well. And what we believe the solution is to complement the academic and professional education system with 3 forms of education.
Okay.
Education that looks at personal development, which is self-discovery. Most individuals cannot tell you what their purpose in life is, what their passion is, what their values are, what their strengths are, what their goals are, and what their zone of genius is. Second, mastery of business and economic fundamentals. The reality is we live in an economic world. if you do not know how money gets managed, if you don't know how to create financial abundance for yourself, you're going to have a very restricted lifestyle. So financial and business education is important for everybody. And the third is what we call the mastery of spiritual laws. Now this one, people kind of tend to look at this and dismiss this as something esoteric, but the reality is the human condition is not just a mind and a body, we're also a heart and a spirit. And there's been tons of research done on the energetic nature of human being, and how can we incorporate that to feel connected within ourselves, but also connect better with the world.
Ron, the amount of depth there must be in your writing is palpable. I want to thank you so much for joining me on the program, highlighting a little bit more about the book and, of course, some of the ideas that you've been researching. It's incredible stuff. So thank you once again.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
No worries. And, of course, thank you to all of you for tuning in. Hopefully you can pick up a copy of the book and learn a little bit of something out there. I've been your host, Mike Loder. Be sure to head to tickernews.co for more. I'll see you again soon. Be well.